welcome. I'm Eric Miskell with EMSNOW, and welcome to this edition of EMSNOW Up Close. Today, I am visiting with the guys from Cogiscan. We have Mitch, who is the Director of Business Development within Cogiscan, and Greg, who is the Director of Product Marketing. Wanted to do a catch-up. We spoke earlier this year with some gentlemen there, but it's been just over a year since Cogiscan was acquired by iTAC. And so I thought it would be good to kind of get an update about how that's going and how Cogiscan is doing in the market. What, almost a year and a half on now. So, so gentlemen, welcome. Mitch, let me start with you. I'm just gonna, the blending of two companies and acquisition, there's always the culture question. So, how is that, how is the two cultures or the cultures of the two companies meshed together?
Hi, Eric. Thanks for having us. And yeah, it's a great question. The cultures of the two companies were familiar to one another beforehand because we've been working with iTAC as partners for over a decade now, serving some very large installations globally. And our systems have been seamlessly integrated via that prior partnership. So one nice thing to start from was the fact that we knew each other very well already and had already collaborated and cooperated, and we already had an integration between our systems. So that's been great. One other nice element of that is the backgrounds that both companies have. We both have our roots in the electronics manufacturing industry. In fact, we actually know people at Cogiscan and people at iTAC on the management teams, et cetera, have known each other for years, even before before I worked for Cogiscan, for example. I already knew some of the people that are key players at iTAC now. So it's kind of like an extended family that became closer through this merger.
Good, that's good to hear. Well, let me ask then, I mean, beyond the cultures, there's the blending of the two companies' solutions, right, between iTAC and Cogiscan. How's that being received in the industry?
Well, very well so far. It's it's exciting for me. I'm on the business development side of the business, so I have the privilege of being able to introduce iTAC to a lot of companies specifically in the Americas market. And of course, iTAC's a very well-known name, so no one has to be told who they are. But when you get to meet with people, present the products. It opens the doors to new opportunities that previously, when Cogiscan was autonomous and by ourselves, we probably wouldn't have been able to pursue. So that's very exciting. This includes, new opportunities with existing Cogiscan customers who can benefit from the expanded portfolio that we talked about during our last interview together. And so that's great because now we can introduce new and exciting things. And given the track record we have of having our systems integrated, it's really a baby step for existing Cogiscan customers to take advantage of what iTAC can offer well beyond what we could do before. And then, of course, for new customer projects, we can now go after enterprise level MES type projects, which of course, that's where iTAC is a world leader, and also advanced analytics through either business intelligence or more advanced artificial intelligence offerings that we can combine with our machine connectivity, which has always been Cogiscan's core product, to enable smarter factory projects. And something that's very exciting about the business intelligence and artificial intelligence side of the iTAC portfolio is that's because of the modular and scalable nature of their architecture, you don't actually have to even have an iTAC MES to use these other new products. So that's something that I even didn't really foresee at the start. But as I started introducing the products to people and I get this interest, even from companies who have another MES or their own internal MES, they're interested in some of the other modules that we can provide through iTAC that can integrate with other systems. So that's been very exciting.
And that's an important point. I remember that from earlier in the year, the whole modularity of it. You don't have to buy this whole big solution. You can kind of pick and choose how you want to engage. And as you said, you might bring in the Cogiscan solution with a different MES system in there, but that would still open up opportunities, I would imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a simple example would be, with the iTAC business intelligence and the AI offerings, you could take an existing Cogiscan installation where we're connected to the machines. We're already collecting the data. we can feed the data to those systems to enable what they can do. The business intelligence product, for example, can perform statistical process control. So by feeding test data or process data to this system, we can now automate the sending of messages and alerts to the factory personnel, not when something's going wrong, but even before something's going wrong. So, we're always talking about more advanced technologies such as that we're, going from a sort of reactive model or illustrative model to a predictive model in terms of, hey, Mr. Customer, you need to go to line 3 now because in another hour from now, this could exceed some sort of threshold. And then on top of that, we have the artificial intelligence offerings, which, take it to a whole other level where we're looking, we're analyzing trends and looking for outliers and bringing alerts to people for that. So, and some of this stuff, especially when you start getting into the artificial intelligence, it sounds sort of space age, but, we actually have practical, real SMT use cases for that, are already in use today. So it's kind of like we're taking what I think some regard as sort of a futuristic topic and putting it together in a very practical, pragmatic, and usable way.
Yeah. And Greg, let me pull you in on that on the AI side, because that's an area I know that you're very involved in. So talk to some of that and some of the AI technology that's embedded and how customers are utilizing.
Yeah, so one of the products in the package that Mitch has been talking about, we call the IIoT Edge. So this is basically an AI platform that you can use for predictive analytics. So it's able to take data from a bunch of different sources as inputs, like MES data, data from any sensors the customer might want to use for things like temperature, vibration, that kind of thing. And then as Mitch said, most recently, we've integrated our Connect platform in it to deliver all of the machine data now. So it can take all of these inputs and run AI algorithms live on this data stream and look for patterns and predict certain key events. So to give some of the practical examples that Mitch was talking about, the use cases that we've actually deployed for this kind of thing, one of them is for predictive maintenance for machines. So monitoring the machine data coming in from Connect, the machine statuses, alarms and warnings and those kind of things. And also taking the data from any of the sensors that the customer might want to use for things like temperature, vibration, and then analyzing this kind of complex data set, using it to predict when the next machine breakdown would occur if nothing were to be done, and then telling the maintenance staff when they need to perform maintenance in advance in order to avoid that downtime. So this, of course, improves utilization, OEE, and things like that. And it's not just kind of waiting for something to break and then fix it, or using some kind of like preventive maintenance schedule, that kind of thing. Another exciting application we have is to deal with the problem of false calls on AOI machines. And so, as we know, this is always a major problem with inspection, that the AOI reports some defects that are not actually defects. And the result is you have to have a verification station after the inspection machine with an operator who looks over the defects reported by the AOI to verify whether they're actually true defects, true defects or false calls. So what the algorithm does here is it can use the AI to pre-screen those defects and identify which of them are actually false calls, and then filter those out so they're not even reported. And so this results in a lot fewer defects that have to be manually verified by an operator, which can really reduce your labor costs. So this is just a couple of the examples of what we've been doing with the platform. We have some other use cases and applications related to things like optimizing cycle time, analyzing quality data to help identify problem areas and speed up root cause. I won't go into all that right now, but you can expect to hear a lot more about this from us coming.
Yeah, soon. And that one other kind of example that we're working on currently with a large defense contractor in the USA is just a simple example, but taking that's what Greg just talked about, connecting it to sensors inside the screen printers, for example. So we're already tracking the solder paste in the screen printer. We're already tracking what allegedly the floor life should be of that screen printer. But if you think about of the solder paste in the screen printer, I should say, and if you think about the floor life of solder paste, I mean, what's it most dependent on? It's the humidity. So by just simply connecting a sensor inside the machine and feeding the humidity to this platform, now we can make it adaptations to floor life based on real life conditions, not just what's on the jar of paste in terms of the floor life. Just great little simple examples where we can put this on the factory floor now.
Yeah. Now, Greg, the new inspection product, and make sure I'm not confused, is that what you refer to as the Focus AI? Is that?
Yeah, so the one I was talking about is a separate AI platform
Okay.
that can be used in general. But then, yeah, we do have another AI-based product also related to inspection. In this case, that's we call the Focus AI. This is a hardware-based station with a 2D camera that we've developed with our partner EMSNOW in Poland. And what this is really ideal for is for kind of putting optical inspection in places where you normally wouldn't have it. So to catch things like basic defects, like if a part is missing or if it's been placed with the wrong polarity or there's something wrong in terms of the color of an LED, those kinds of sort of simple defects. So we found it particularly useful for use after like through-hole placement before solder. So before the parts are actually soldered to the board, to do a kind of a quick visual inspection, optical inspection automatically, catch some of these basic defects before the board is soldered and you have to do a repair. Or also after final assembly for inspecting like surface features of the product. So making sure that screws are all in place or there's no scratches on the product, those kinds of things. And the really nice thing about this product is that since it uses AI, there's very little programming involved to set up a new product. You can basically just feed the system a few examples of kind of like a golden product, basically feed it examples of how the product should look, and then very quickly you can start running inspections on that product to catch these defects. So this is, yeah, another AI-based product that we're really excited about too.
Okay. Well, let me ask you, I mean, when we talk about what I'd like to, you've used some case studies, which I appreciate, but how are customers utilizing the combination of the two solutions, and what are the features that you see them kind of leveraging more? What are they really deriving from that? Mitch, what are you seeing?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is factory-wide traceability. You know, we've been doing traceability since our inception, as has iTAC. But if you look at the typical electronic manufacturer, a lot of them, you know, do a really good job on the conveyorized portions of their operation, i.e. the SMT line, whether you have a Cogiscan system or maybe you bought a traceability solution from your pick and place vendor. You know, it's relatively straightforward, you know, and and the traceability solutions available through us or through other companies, you know, are very robust for the SMT line. Once you go past SMT and your different batches or work orders of partially built boards go off to the back end, as we call it, it's a lot harder to track and control and interlock operations, assure quality, and ensure traceability data integrity. This is where iTAC is really a leader in the industry. So this is something that you know, comes out quite often as the #1 driver of discussions with new customers. And so by being able to take that traceability to more of an enterprise level, you know, included with a deeper integration with the customer's ERP. And that kind of leads to another very current topic, which is materials management. You know, again, managing materials on an SMT line is relatively straightforward because all the machines are connected and there's only one place for the materials to go. Once you're in the back end operation, you have different workstations doing different things and materials being taken manually from location to location. It's a lot easier to lose track of things. And this is, again, where iTAC's deep presence in back end and box build has really helped us and is leading us to new opportunities. And, you know, combine that with electronic Kanbans for making sure you have the right material at the right place at the right time. Combine that with controlling robotic delivery systems like AGVs, and we can take it, you know, to a whole new level of automation using the tools we have available now.
Yeah, Greg, did you want to add to that?
No, I mean, other than maybe in full disclosure, I used to work for iTAC actually for a number of years. I joked with the management that you know, if they really wanted me back this badly, there were cheaper ways to do it than buying Cogiscan. You know, I was can I say in an interview, super stoked to when I found out that we were being acquired, because I really you know, to Mitch's point about the culture, these are people who, I mean, I knew a lot of them from working there, but even before that. We have the kind of shared history. We both come from electronics, so it's a real sort of natural fit. But then also from the product standpoint, I mean, they have a kind of a broader offering in one direction, but we go sort of kind of deeper in another level in terms of really integrating directly into the shop floor and the equipment. And so I really saw this as really a great natural fit for the two solutions to come together. So I'm really happy with it.
Good. Well, as long as you're happy, Greg, then it's
well. That's the important. That's always my priority. So I'm glad you share it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I am now. I'll sleep better tonight. But so tell me, I mean, this is exciting. And actually, one of the things I did want to follow up on, I was looking at this because we're talking about kind of the lines and everything, but Cogiscan also has the solution, kind of the post reflow kind of piece too, don't you? The scanning opportunities beyond that as well, right?
Right. So that's kind of what Mitch was referring to, the back end part, right? So Cogiscan has traditionally focused a lot on the SMT part, and we have a lot of great coverage for that. Whereas iTAC has expanded a bit more broadly towards the full process. So now when you combine the two, we have a great solution for covering all the things you need for SMT for an electronics manufacturer. iTAC comes with a lot of the things for the back-end assembly, the manual assembly, PLC connections, shipping, those kinds of things. So we really have a real full solution for electronics manufacturers now.
Yeah, and there's a big movement in the industry anyway to try to automate more of that anyway. So it seems like you're kind of positioned well then for as that ultimately happens, right?
Exactly.
Chasing this lights out kind of factory type thing, right?
All with one platform essentially. So it's really exciting.
Precisely right. Good. Listen, the last thing I wanted to ask before we go is just kind of, what's coming in the next few months? What's on the docket? Is there anything you guys can talk about? Is there anything coming up?
Well, one thing that comes to mind, I wrote it down, July 13th, we're having a webinar. This webinar will be educational, practical. It'll provide real life examples of how customers can improve their operations with this expanded portfolio. There will be quite a bit of emphasis on the new products that we have available through the iTAC Mom suite. So that's happening on July 13th, and that's something we hope many of our customers and prospective customers will want to join.
And so if somebody's interested in that, is that by invitation? Is there an open place they can go to register? How does that work? Good question.
That's a great question.
We'll be sending out some promotions to our list, but we'll also be promoting it on social media and so forth. So it'll be visible. Okay. People will be able to find the invitation in one of those places. Yeah.
Okay, good. And if we're able to support that in any way, please let me know. We're more than happy to, because I think the world of your solution. I was excited when the announcement came last year about the combination of the two companies, and just hearing the stories here today just kind of reinforces how positive this has been, and that means it's got to be good for the industry, right? So good. Mitch, Greg, thank you very much for your time today. This has been great to get a catch up. Hopefully we can do this again in the future and hear even more good news.
Yeah, great to see you again, Eric. Thanks so much.
Thank you both.
Thanks.
Take care.
Bye.